Time for sports. I'm Jamie Stuart. It's Final Four weekend in the NFL. Two of the usual suspects and two newcomers. And speaking of newcomers, joining me now to break it all down, making his News 12 Long Island debut, former Jet Erik Coleman. He's a current SNY analyst and Stony Brook commentator. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you here. We begin in the AFC. It's what everyone's talking about. Brady versus Manning again. 17th meeting between the two teams. Erik, Denver has the home field, but does Peyton have enough left in his tank to beat Brady one last time?
I don't think he does. You know, he's struggled this year. Obviously, had some injuries, been out for a while. Doesn't have the arm strength really to drive the ball down the field and to threaten that Patriots defense vertically. So I see the Patriots dominating this matchup. It's probably going to be a close game, but the Patriots will come out on top.
I mean, Denver barely got by an injury-riddled Steelers team. If they lose on Sunday, which you think they will, is this the final time we're going to see Peyton Manning play?
I think that all depends on how his body responds. You know, he's been out for a couple of weeks, came back, you know, the last couple of weeks and played. But if he feels good after this season, he's a competitor. And all of us NFL players, we all very competitive. And I think that if he feels well, he'll play another year, whether it's with Denver or someone else.
Wow, okay. All right, let's move over to the NFC. We've got the teams with the two best records, Carolina, Arizona. I don't think I've ever seen a team that went 15-1 be disrespected more than the Panthers and doubted. What do you think?
I think the Panthers are a great football team. I mean, you look defensively with Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, Josh Norman. Those guys are amazing. They've had great years. And on offense, I mean, Cam Newton, MVP of the league, most definitely. And he's got some great weapons with Greg Olsen and running the football, Jonathan Stuart. That's going to be a tough matchup for Arizona. Although I do like how Arizona matches up defensively. They have some Patrick Peterson, one of the best corners in the league. You know, Deion Buchanan, you know, Larry Fitzgerald is playing great football right now in the end of his career. So it's going to be a great matchup, but I like Carolina.
So in the end, it sounds like we're thinking Patriots, Panthers, Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think.
Which is a rematch, by the way.
Yeah, it would be a rematch, but I mean, I like the Cardinals, but, you know, you have to take your emotions out of these
Sure.
games. And I see Carolina's playing at home. They're 15-1, had a great year, and I see them continuing that dominance this weekend.
All right. Awesome job, Erik. Thanks a lot, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Enjoy the games on Sunday. That's sports. Now let's head to the newsroom and see what stories we're working on for the 10 p.m. show.
Sports time, everyone. I'm Kevin Marr. Super Bowl hype gets underway in Santa Clara, California. Broncos-Panthers in the big game, and we have 9-year NFL player, former Jet Erik Coleman, here in our studio to break down the game. And first, let's start with the big storyline, Erik. More than likely, this is going to be Peyton Manning's last game. I think everyone would like to see him win it, but does he have enough left in the tank where if he had to take over this game, could he do it, do you think?
Well, I think he does. You know, he's a great quarterback. His defense is playing lights out. They're the #1 defense in the NFL this year, and they've pretty much carried him through the season. Haven't really asked too much of Peyton Manning. Just manage the game, don't turn over the ball, and just get a couple of touchdowns, and they'll be okay.
Let's talk about that Bronco defense. As a former defender yourself, #1, would you have liked to play in this style of defense? And are they built to stop the athletic quarterback?
Well, yeah, I would, you know, as a player, I would love to play in this defense. You know, they have great corners, great pass rush, so I would have loved to play in a defense like this. And playing against an athletic quarterback is always tough. You know, it's one thing to cover the receivers for a long time, and then you have to account for a quarterback taking off and running, and that makes it very difficult, you know, covering it for another 2 or 3 seconds.
Just yesterday, Cam Newton said he wants to be a trailblazer for athletic quarterbacks. Well, to be a trailblazer, you've kind of got to be somebody that you've never seen like this before. Is he like that? Is he just a different mold of guy?
Yeah, he is a different mold. You know, I don't think anyone has ever seen a player of the stature with the athleticism of Cam Newton. He's 6'5", 6'6", 250 pounds. He can run like a wide receiver. He's bigger than most of the linebackers. He can run over linebackers, and he has a rocket for an arm. So he's, you know, kind of the all-in-one package, and it makes it tough to deal with.
Pick one player, either team, that could be maybe the X factor in this game?
Well, you know, for Carolina, I would go with Greg Olsen. He's the second leading tight end receiver in the league. Did a great job. You know, he's had a great career. You know, he came out of Miami. He and Cam Newton seem to be on the same page. If those safeties from the Broncos can contain him, I think they'll have a shot to win. So I would go with Greg Olsen, T.J. Ward, and the other safeties for the Broncos.
All right. Two other questions. Number one, who wins Super Bowl 50?
I'm going to go with Carolina. I think they just have too much firepower on offense. I think they just have too much, and they play with so much confidence and just really believe in one another.
And finally, the million-dollar question. Could Erik Coleman pull off Cam Newton's zebra-striped Versace pants?
I don't think I can pull those off. Those were amazing. I'm gonna leave all the Versace pants to Cam Newton. He pulls it off great. My wife would say I could pull them off, but I don't think so.
My wife would say you can't pull those off, meaning me, by the way. All right, Erik, thanks a lot. Enjoyed the Super Bowl. You're heading out there?
Yeah, I'm heading out there on Wednesday, and thanks a lot for having me.
Okay, that's Erik Coleman. You heard it here. Super Bowl 50, he's taking the Panthers. That's it in sports. Back to you guys on the desk.
All right.